Hey everybody, Falcon Genie here. And what I'm about to tell you is very controversial, and it involves the 99% of people and the 1% of people of what they do with their time, health, and wealth. And what you should do with your time, health, and wealth, everyone. And I'm going to tell you what you should do with your time, health, and wealth. Anyways, let's get started. Let's get started, everyone. Let's get started. So, everyone, the 99% of people, the 99% of people The 99% of people, what they eat is McDonald's, Popeyes, and other fast foods. Why? Because it's easy and cheap, but not anymore. You know why it's not easy and cheap? Because the companies know that they have an obesity epidemic. That's why they're raising the prices. That's why they know that they have a epidemic of obesity. Why they're raising the prices? Because the 1% knows they can treat the 99% of people like peasants. Because they know their food isn't good. Their food isn't good for them, making money from addicts, while the 1% of us don't eat any fast food or any of their foods. In fact, we go to the grocery store and buy cheap meat like fish, chicken, and beef, and then get seasoning. Then season it, then get some sides and cook it at home. Because the 99%, why do they do this, everyone? Because the 99% of people can't cook at home. Why? Because they're lazy. They're so used to eating fast food until their health deteriorates and they have to start taking insulin injections just for them to survive. And we all know how very expensive insulin is nowadays. If you don't want your money to be drained, take good care of your body and exercise, because the 1% does it all the time. Plus, it makes your life a hell of a lot easier when you exercise. That's what you got to do, everyone. That's what everyone has to start doing. Your life gets a hell of a lot easier when you exercise, everyone. It just simply does. It just simply does, everybody. Your life just gets a hell of a lot easier when you exercise. Anyways, everyone, let's make some music. That is how you make it, everyone. That is how you make great ass music. But, anyways, the 1% of people like us, what we do, actually, and if you're wondering what's the difference between 99% of people and 1% of people spend their time, is the 99% of people, what they do with their time is they watch Netflix, they play video games, they go on Reddit just to talk about their favorite social media or media personalities, or what media they consume. And if they're that much of a crazy, unhinged person, they'll antagonize other people who don't agree with their opinions on that said media. You know, typical unemployed high school teenage behavior. Got nothing going for them, wasting time. Exactly, because that's what you expect from these types of people, everyone. These types of consumers just don't have anything going for them, unemployed, probably still in high school or something. Just, just wasting time. That's what you basically can expect, everyone. Wasting their time, not anything going for them. But people like us, but the 1% of people like us, what we do is we don't consume media, we don't play video games, and we don't go on Reddit talking bullshit about nothing. In fact, we go outside, try to get ideas, and enjoy the outdoors. And we create content by having art apps, music creation apps, and musical instruments, putting it on social media, and making art and music, trying to create a following on social media in hopes of us profiting of our following so we can make money off of them. Because that's what it boils down to, everyone. Marketing. That's what it all boils down to, everybody. That's what it basically all boils down to. Marketing. That's what it basically all boils down to, everyone. That's what it basically all boils down to. Consuming versus creating. That's what the whole thing boils down to. Let's create some music, everybody. And that is how you make it, everyone. That is how you make it. Anyways, which is my next point, everyone. The difference between the 99% of people and the 1% of people, when it comes to money, it's all about psychology and what you do with it. Simple, because the 99% of people, when they get money, they want to immediately spend it on consumer goods like brands, like branded clothing and shoes, just to look rich. You know, keeping up with the Joneses mentality. That's going to render them broke, and you know why they always complain they are broke. It's blatantly obvious. They're easily fooled by marketing gimmicks of those brands because they want to be part of the herd mentality, because they want to look like they're achieving something, but in reality they're not. They want to look rich, but in reality they're not rich. They want to look like that. Keeping up with the Joneses mentality is going to render them broke. But the 1% of us, we don't let the herd mentality take over because we don't follow the herd. Because we know the marketing gimmicks, we know the deception behind these brands. Because there's the reason why the 99% of people are broke, because they never think when money's presented to them. But when money is presented to us, we find a way to multiply it and invest it into more, leaving us rich while the 99% of people remain in poverty. Because the 99% of people can't control their ego. They can't let go what they don't need. That is why people like us will succeed and why the rest of society will continue to fail. That's just basic reality. And I know I'm going to have people in the comments saying, you're being elitist and all that other bullshit that they're talking about. Guess what? Ignore it at your own peril, but that's the reality. If you want to go ahead and be an obnoxious little brat, go right ahead. But I'm just saying, denying the truth isn't going to do you any good. You can deny all you want, but I'm just saying, denying it isn't going to do you any good. Just because you don't like to hear the truth does not mean it's not the truth. Just because something you don't like to hear is the truth does not mean it's not the truth. Just get that through your straight. Just get that straight. I know I know we live in a narcissistic society. I know society loves narcissists. I know we live in a toxic culture and all that stuff. But trust me, if you want to get ahead of 99% of people, you have to do what the 1% are doing, meaning you cannot be following the 99% of people. And guess what? It's going to have to include changing everything, canceling subscriptions and all that stuff. It's going to have to include you walking outside, getting a gym membership, walking out, taking care of your body, not eating too much sugary foods. That's what's going to have to take to become 1% of us, everyone. And complaining, and you're going to have to start blaming yourself, and don't let anyone have any power over you. And I know people like you don't like to hear the truth, but that's the truth, everyone. That is the truth. I know how people like to deny the truth. And that's pretty much all I have to say, everybody. Anyways, if you like this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, fight this degenerate agenda.